For the hospital fortress, the sort of lowest level of heist, we knew we were going to have to go somewhere to get real snow because we wanted to have a ski chase, we wanted to have all this stuff going on.
The whole process of Canada was very exciting. We actually started building that set as early as the company was shooting in London because there was a very long build time on a set like this. You know, you needed sort of 15 weeks to build something like this at high altitude.
We're at Fortress Mountain up in the Nikiska and Kananaskis Park. It was formerly a ski hill, which has now been closed for about 4 years. On the site here, we have about 30 people. I have 5 or 6 in the shop welding and getting the railings and whatnot already. A couple of drivers, a craft service gal, and so we're all happy. Here's our long shot down the parking lot. Again, one of the first main challenges we had was getting our material from way down there up to the hill, which we managed to do with a D9 cap through mud that was about 2 feet deep. But we ended up skidding all our material up, and it was a fun beginning for a project. Basically, we're starting out with our plywood columns. We skin them with pen test, drill the holes, and then the plasters come with their concrete texture. There's going to be big steel windows in here which are really holding a lot of the structure. Well, this is the awesome view down in this corner. Just to kind of look down into the vastness of it all is pretty awesome. It's a great place to have your office. You can see they've definitely utilized the view with all the windows throughout the whole set. A couple of double doors back here, but other than that, it's all glass. So it's quite spectacular. There's the bridge connecting the 2 levels, and what we have to do is we have to establish a way of being able to open it up so we can get the snowcats and production vehicles through. This is the 2nd floor of the tower complex. With this nice, big, beautiful deck where the wind just roars through at quite an incredible clip. The other day, it was so windy when you came around the corner, you could literally not throw yourself on the ground because the wind just held you up. So beautiful as it is, the wind does get pretty brutal up here. This is the main tower building. It looks very much like a big fortress keep from an old castle. Really cool building. Let's head on up to the top and we'll see if we can scare you with some height. We're getting to our maximum height here pretty much. This is where the sniper is pretty much going to be set up to do his shot into the safe house, and you can see the spectacular cliff in behind them. Here we are at the back part of this set where we have our the big vent going in. There's going to be quite a bit of action getting in here along this edge. This was apparently one of the big shots so that we could see the face of this cliff, you know, along the side of the building to give it that very mountainous look. Once the plaster goes on it, it's not so much waterproof, but it's very hard and very durable. And just the fact that we're only really here for, you know, 2 or 3 months exposed to the weather makes it a very good way of doing it economically, and the durability is there. Give it 5 or 6 years and it would start to fall apart, yes. But I think we'll be good for a couple of weeks of shooting.
And as the months went on, the set moved from its timber structure through to this rendered plaster finish to look like concrete. By the time the team got to this stage, it was so cold that they had to invent ways to keep their materials from freezing, particularly the paint from freezing on the brush. So a lot of antifreeze was actually mixed into the plaster mixes here and the paints to keep them in liquid form so they didn't freeze before they got to the surface of the set. Finishes are pretty authentic to a building that would have been built perhaps in the late 40s, early 50s, of concrete and steel, and superb finishes by the Canadian crew, headed up by Alf Arnton Construction and Bill Ives, the art director. So hats off to them for helping me finish the set.
The set itself was enormously impressive. I think the cast, when they came up there, they assumed it was a real building until they got up close to it and knocked on it and realized it was made of wood rather than concrete. But it was extremely substantial. It was a big set, but at the same time, you never ran out of angles on it. It was always a different way of looking at it to give you a different vista, a different bit of architecture to highlight. It was a great playground. We had a lot of fun shooting in and around it.
Look at those mountains. How can you go wrong?
Hey Lisa, here with some Christopher Nolan trivia. Did you know that following Insomnia, his next project was going to be a Howard Hughes biopic starring Jim Carrey? Now, Nolan had the screenplay written, calling it one of his best things he's ever written, but once it became apparent Martin Scorsese was making his own Hughes biopic, The Aviator, Nolan reluctantly tabled his script and took up directing Batman Begins. Now, do you like my shirt? You can get one for yourself in the link in the description.